closer. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to solder these in, and we're going to solder each transistor a little bit at a time. We want to get the soldering iron on the lead and on the pad at the same time. Put the solder on after it gets hot and then take it away. We'll do that one there, and then we'll do the center one here. We don't want to put too much heat on one transistor at a time. There we go. Now since the center ones are done, I can bend up the leads that we're holding the transistors in a little bit. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the outside one. There's more copper here, so I'm going to have to keep heat on it for a little bit longer before it'll go. There we go. We'll do this one over here after I straighten out the leads a little bit. There we go. Clean up the soldering iron in between every one of them. So we won't get too much flux on the board. There we go. Now we'll come over and do these big power transistors and power drivers, I should say. Takes a little bit longer to heat them up. Come back over here. And you notice I'm alternating transistors every time because I don't want to get any transistor too hot. Be careful not to get any solder bridges. And I think that's all of them. Now what we're going to do really quick is we're going to take a look with the voltmeter, and we're going to make sure that we don't have any solder bridges. The voltmeter will be set for 0 ohms. And no solder bridge there. 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 And no solder bridge. Whoa. Wait a second. That one's a little bit low. Let me look the other way. Oh, that's meg ohms. So no, there's no solder bridge there. If it were a solder bridge, it would go to 0 ohms. This was measuring in the meg ohm range, so we're good there. Now what we come in and we just start taking these leads off with the clippers. Don't take them off too short, but take them off short enough that they aren't sticking out. Don't leave those on the board, whatever you do. sure that you get those off the board. Don't need a short circuit because you left a lead on the board. Like that one. There we go. So that does a good job of soldering it up. Now what we want to do is, there's a little bit of flux on there, and the flux kind of makes it look ugly, not to mention the fact that it's kind of a corrosive thing, flux is. So we're going to take some acetone and we're going to scrub these. We're going to scrub them so that we can get that flux off of there and make this look nice and clean. There we go. Makes for a pretty clean job. Maybe just a little bit more. There you go. And for acetone, I'm using my wife's fingernail polish remover, and it seems to work pretty good. Cleans up real nice. And there you have it, the 4 power drivers and the 2 drivers are now soldered in. And we'll flip the board over just for a second and take a look at them. And here we go. These are the power drivers here, and these 2 little ones are the pre-drivers for that. You'll notice that I used silicone heatsink compound on all of the transistors, and you'll also notice that I screwed the transistors down before I soldered them in. If you solder them in first, then you won't get the screws where they belong. The transistor may be too high or too low. So that's the rebuild of the other side of the Marantz 300 DC, and now both sides are rebuilt and they need to be put back into the heat sinks as soon as I replace all of these capacitors here. And these capacitors all should be replaced because they get old, and I don't want to throw away a bunch of transistors just because I didn't buy $8.50 worth of capacitors. And that'll do it for that one.